Waynaho. I don't know, there's about 6 of them.
He had a little consortium going on here.
And where was this based now? Where was your group based?
Okay, this was in Costa Mesa, California, where these understanding meetings were, and that's where I met Carr.
Okay.
But they found out that they were after Carr. He was having all kinds of misses. They were trying to quiet his efforts. You know, they were trying to.
When you say he was having misses, actually people were trying to kill him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were threatening, and then he, you know, he'd have to be very careful where he went because he'd find people kind of, you know, very curiously observing him, and you know, things like this.
They already knew what you were up to, and they probably were following you as well as following him.
That's a good point. I didn't bring this up, and I think it's important. You've heard by now, it's all over the place, about 3 men in black.
Right.
Okay, I'd never heard, this was back before I'd even heard of such a thing. These 3 guys showed up on my door after this experiment, and after Weinhardt had destroyed these things. Honest to God, they were in black suits, and they said, we're from the DeWalt School of Electronics, and we've heard about you, and we want to, can we come in, and we want to know about your experiments and what you're doing and everything. And I was a little hesitant, but I invited him in, and I started talking, and my wife said, no, these guys they don't feel right.
Oh,
yeah.
She's very intuitive.
Yeah.
And she had a bad feeling about
She
them.
sure did. And I said, well, God, you can't kick them out. But they became a little more insistent on, well, give us how you did this, and I want the details and stuff. And they're not giving me anything back. They're just kind of taking it. She caught this, and she says, you know, I'm going to have to ask you guys to leave right now. You can come back later or whatever you want to do, but you got to leave right now. And she kicked them out of the house.
Wow.
So.
Okay, so you started in Costa Mesa, and didn't you move out of there or something?
Yeah, the understanding group had a cabin. Some people, there were lots of people in the understanding group. There was, you know, I don't know, a couple of dozen people that we'd meet. Had a cabin up at Lake Arrowhead, which is down by Riverside, up in the mountains in California. And they said, well, we got to get Carr and you guys in a safe place. And there's a nice big cabin, there's room enough for everybody. Go on up there, and then we'll keep working on what we're going to do. So I got up there talking with Carr and his proteges and his people that he had with him, and man, I just lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, I was on cloud 9 because I just, man, he was answering questions that I had on things, and I was answering questions he had on things, and it was just, man,
connected on all kinds of levels.
God, it was just the most wonderful time of my life. We were feeding the raccoons to keep our minds off. We were so anxious to get going on a project, and we got a phone call, and they said, we've got you a place. It's just down the hill from where you're at on the other side in Apple Valley or Hesperia, California, near Victorville. It's coincidentally because all these people moved on feelings and spirit, if you will.
Oh,
and
This is about the same era. I wanted to point out that George Van Tassel was having a lot of UFO meetings out at the Integratron near Joshua Tree.
Right.
I'm glad you mentioned Van Tassel. I forgot. I had ordered from Europe Tesla's big book, and it did get to me. And I was going through all the patents and everything in the big book. And when this thing happened, with my wife kicking these guys out and everything, I got a little apprehensive. And I decided, I knew of Van Tassel, and I knew a little bit about his background. And this was before I met Carr. And so I took a trip. I got in my car, and because I was going to try and meet people that
will be more receptive.
More receptive. And I took this Bible down to Giant Rock, Joshua Tree, California, and met with Van Tassel, and we had a nice talk. And I said, I was supposed to give you this. I can't. I'm out of this phase of this. I don't know where I'm going or what I'm going to do, but this is it. And I gave it to him, and I remember it was getting late that afternoon or evening, and I went out and laid on a hillside, and I looked up in the sky, and I saw hundreds, if not thousands, of whatever they were, UFOs, spaceships,
Different various
lights.
shapes. Or
Really?
Yeah, they're like green lights or whatever. I don't know. There were hundreds and hundreds. They were coming over, and they'd stop and come down and go up and around. And oh my God, this is really, this is really. And I said, what is this for? And what I got was because you did what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really.
So it's like a thank you demonstration of a sort.
Right.
Wow.
And I just,
That's amazing.
I chilled all over. Like,
if
wow,
you build it, we will come.
Oh man! So then I got back, and then they had set up the meeting with Carr, and then we got down into the laboratory down in Hesperia in Apple Valley, and we started setting up shop. We had a little machine shop set up, and we had all kinds of stuff to do things with. But we'd had a couple of models that they brought with them that were semi-operational. So the first experiment that I saw that just knocked my socks off was we set it up on one of the workbenches and attached not electricity but sound waves, if you will, or maybe it was. I think that we had a. I'm not sure. Anyway, and this was a small model about 2 feet in diameter, 2 or 3 feet in diameter. And they said, well, take a look at this. So they fired it up, hardly any noise, just a hum, vibratory hum. And it was made out of aluminum. And I touched the surface of it, and it felt good, but I could feel the vibrations. And so they kept increasing the energy, and then there was this feeling that it felt really like somebody had opened a door and a cool breeze was coming through. It felt really good. And at that time I went to touch it again, and it was like Jell-O. It was getting soft. It was getting really, really soft. Like I could put my fingers through it.
Mm-hmm.
Better than Jell-O because it didn't stick or anything. I put my hand in and pulled it out.
Oh my goodness!
Like that.
And what did it feel like when your hand was inside of the gelatinous material? Did you feel any?
It was the same tingling that we were all feeling in this room. That we had accelerated our efforts. It's like what it was doing, we were doing.
Oh, I see. So you were sort of speeding up to kind of like in sympathy to those vibrations.
Exactly.
That resonance that you talk about.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Huh? And Carr, after the experiment, the way he